let me come across to John Grieve, because what Beverley has described there seems to me quite bluntly almost to be two camps gazing at each other, and we would have made the same speech as you said some little time ago. I heard what you said, and your hopes and your positive hopes, but what Beverley describes there is genuine fear and doubt on the part of young black men, and total confusion on the part of young white police officers. That's a heck of a gap to bridge.
No, standing in the gap is always a difficult place to be, as Beverley has taught me. This is a difficult place to be in the gap, and that's exactly where young cops are. Beverley is impatient with the speed of change. However, I can see huge changes going on. I share her impatience. However, we have achieved what I've said.
Barry Mussenden, newer monitoring group. You've heard that argument from both sides of the aisle, as it were. What do you make of the argument that John Grieve makes, and that is, in essence, there is still grounds for optimism despite the picture that's been painted over that side? Do you share that optimism, or are you on that side of the fence as well?
In terms of the optimism, what we've seen is some senior officers expressing a very clear commitment to issues where previously you wouldn't have heard that. So that clearly is an optimistic development. But what my problem is in this issue is that they're still not representative of the police as a whole. So what you do have is other officers on the ground who reject the findings of Macpherson, do resent the report, and do resent the way that racism in the police service has been flagged up this year. And that's a lot to deal with, because when it comes to the question of developing trust within the black community in terms of the police, ultimately you're not going to judge things by what you hear from senior officers. You're going to judge it by how do you experience policing on the street, in your local communities, and that's where the change has really got to happen.
Would it help, or would it be tokenistic, if there were more black officers on the beat?
Well, that in itself is never going to be the answer. I mean, personally, I see some of it as a bit of a hypothetical debate anyway, because you're simply not going to get black officers joining in their droves, because there still is the view that the police service is racist, a reluctance to join it, and even those that go in and some of the stories they recount and some of the issues happen there drive others to think, well, is that really the job for me?